This is Cultured Unmasked. I'm Madison Hawthorne with Golden Tree Publishing. You can catch us on Facebook at Golden Tree Publishing and Instagram Golden Tree Publishing. Catch us on YouTube. It's Golden Tree TV. Ray, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Raymond Youngblood. I am a comic book creator, creating a comic book named Twilight Angel, and I'm also a freelance artist. You can find my artwork on Instagram at Raiz Arts, RAIZ_ARTS.
This is Chris Newman, artist in the works. I'm doing a lot of writing. Did illustration for my own book. It's about to be self-published here in several months. But you can find me at cnewman216 on the gram. And also follow me at Blank Canvas CLE, also on the gram and on Facebook. And you can find blankcanvascle.com. I got a lot of events and working with them with a lot of projects as well.
Cool. So I guess since the last time, anything new you guys want to talk about? Anything coming up or something that you saw?
I feel like I talked about this last week, but I'm definitely going to talk about it again, especially because I don't got anything else to watch right now. Yo, DuckTales is incredible. Like, it is so much better than what I thought it was going to be. They got, like, all the cameos from the old cartoons. Like, they got that old coyote that was in Tailspin as a villain in there. Darkwing Duck is, like, super meta on there. Like, Darkwing Duck's character he played on TV is actually now Nega Duck because he's mad since nobody remembered who Darkwing Duck was. Like, who thinks to do that? That's super dope. And I just love the mix of a full-blown action-adventure story while also still being episodic as well. And typically I don't like episodic stuff, so watch it, y'all. Y'all ain't got nothing else to do during this quarantine. Watch it.
Yeah. Is that a DuckTales new one?
Yeah, the 2017 version. They just hit season 3 like 2 weeks ago, and man, it's great. It's great. Like,
I haven't been able to get past.
Great.
I haven't been able to get past the new artwork. You know what I'm saying? The visuals of them. So I didn't even give it a chance because I don't know. It just like it didn't resonate with me when I watched like the old one and try to not compare it, but you know, trying to get into the new one and like their designs and looks just look so different. So I had to give it another go round, man.
Do you remember?
Is my favorite.
Do you remember that TV show Quack Pack? That didn't really do too well. I liked it,
right.
But a lot of people really didn't. They got rid of it because of like the difference in art style and how that was so jarring. But man, I'm telling you, this isn't like Teen Titans Go or anything like that. Like, the brothers all have their own distinct personalities while still staying true to their natty selves. Donald Duck actually plays like a major role because he raised the kids before Uncle Scrooge got in it. Like, it's great. Webby isn't just a girl character; she actually has her own like personal life. Like, it's I love it. I love everything about it.
That's on Disney.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. The first 2 seasons are on Disney Plus, and I'm watching the 3rd season right now on YouTube TV.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, I haven't been watching nothing, honestly. I've been doing a lot of work with being a minority owner of a business. So I've just been doing a lot of reading and trying to stay abrupt and up to date with like the SBA loans and things of the sort. And so honestly, all my reading and time has been basically dedicated to that and taking like little workshops online just to make sure, whenever this pandemic ends, that I'm not behind and I'm kind of ahead of where everyone else is. So that's kind of not put my book and other creativity to the side, but just kind of redirected the focus, understanding, what's going to be happening within the government and different regulations. Like I said, to be ahead of things as opposed to be behind once things open up. And I think that can help me and other people as well, just so when I know stuff, I can pass along information. So that's kind of where I've been at this last week.
I've seen this one movie on Netflix. I can't remember. It's like some Spanish movie. It's like The Platform or something like that.
Yeah.
Yo, it was wild, dog. I don't even know if I liked it, but I just know that. I just know that I watched it. You know what I mean? It's one of the movies where it's like, have any of y'all ever seen the movie Bone Tomahawk on Amazon?
No.
Oh man, y'all gotta watch Bone Tomahawk. Yo, y'all gotta watch that movie.
Wait. I did see that.
Okay.
I did watch that.
With Kurt Russell?
Yep, with Kurt Russell, yep.
Yeah.
2015.
It came out a while ago. It was like one of Amazon's first original movies, like when they first started making their own movies. But it kind of reminds me of like that kind of movie. It's like I don't know if it was a good movie, but I just know I'm not gonna forget the movie. You know what I mean? But y'all got time to check that out. I think it's called The Platform. It might be called something else, but I think it's Spanish. I think it's either a movie from Spain or Mexico. So it's either you can either do subtitles or dubs, but it's an interesting movie.
Yeah, I watched that a few weeks ago. It's funny because it reminded me. I don't know if you ever saw the movie. It is a Spanish movie. But Snowpiercer. You ever see that?
Yeah,
with Chris Evans?
Snowpiercer. Yeah, that's a comic book actually that they turned into a movie. Yeah.
It's funny. I heard there's a dude on YouTube. Man, my brother put me on to him. I don't know the name right now, but he'll put the twist on movies, and he'll say the dude from Home Alone. They was like Home Alone. That's a prequel to the Saw movies. They were saying Willy Wonka. The Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka, and they'll go through all the characters and say how those were the children from the Willy Wonka movie, and this is why Kevin is whatever his name in Saw. Man, you got to check it out. I don't believe in it, man, but the way the dude puts it together, it's crazy how some of the similarities go together, man.
Fan theories are always, they can be really dope, man. There's crazy ones about the Rugrats and different cartoons, that we had growing up, and how stuff was just hallucinations, and then stuff yo, that actually really makes sense for that character. That's crazy. Yeah. So the Pixar everything's connected theory, I don't dig down those rabbit holes, but they're always fun to watch. To see the creative minds of the fan base for different things.
Yeah, but the companies hate that same thing.
What you say?
I said companies hate that thing for the most part.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
I mean,
that was for real idea.
Right, yeah. It keeps people talking about this stuff though, but yeah, companies generally frown upon fan theories and fan fiction, especially.
Yeah. Well, what you call it? 50 Shades of Grey seems to do pretty well for itself. That's a Twilight fan fiction.
Right. It's completely different than Twilight.
Yeah.
Right. It's yeah. Sometimes, yeah. That's all. I never read any of them.
I've never read it. I've never watched the movies.
I never heard good things, but I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's if you like it, you like it. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of deals where sometimes you hit the gold mine, so you find your niche and people latch onto it. And
Listen, how Twilight was for the little teenage girls. That's how 50 Shades of Grey was for the older chicks, man, who was like in I ain't gonna say an age, but, you know, they got some age on them. Because I was working at a bar at the time, and it was upper class people, and then all the waitresses was a little older. We really didn't have no young ones, and all they talked about was this book, man. All they did was, because I was young, I was still in my 20s then, so they was all hitting on me and all types. I'm like, yo, man, you need to slow down. This book got you living in these false realities. Like, relax. I was getting Me Too before it was a thing, man. Just based off of that 50 Shades. Yeah. Yeah, that cooled down, though. Them girls knew they couldn't keep up.
Yeah. Interesting ass time.
I was looking at the movies for June and July, and basically everybody just canceled and pushed back everything to like August, September, basically. So I keep my eyes peeled for any new announcements, but it looks like it's going to be a slow time. I mean, people can't even film right now, so there's going to be a extra like lag after all this stuff people are holding on to release when people can watch it. Yeah, they want them to. Then after that, there's probably going to be another gap because this whole time nobody's filming nothing. So
exactly right.
You know what I mean? But the one thing you can do is if you make comics and you write, anybody can write, and you can do that all by yourself. So there shouldn't be any delay on books. It's just about where you're gonna buy them. Where you gonna buy your books, where you gonna buy your comics. You gotta go, I guess, online.
And even that's not necessarily true. Over in Japan, Shonen Jump actually is got postponed because one of their editors actually ended up having a case of the Rona.
Damn. Well, I knew that was going to happen. I knew all that stuff was going to get postponed. Everything's going to be postponed. Even like comics, like the comic book stores are closed. The distributor's not distributing books. It's going to be interesting because comic book stores, especially, like, I mean, they don't have extra cash usually. So I wonder how many of them are going to make it through this coronavirus. You know what I mean? Like, they could literally be like half of comic book stores are closed down at the end of this thing, never to return. So that'll be something to watch out for too, especially because they said that those small business loans is maxed out that they did for the stimulus. So they got to get some more money because a lot of businesses still didn't get a chance to, especially with going through the banks. That's a whole other thing that we could get on, going through the banks giving people a hard time. But so that'll be interesting to see is like where you going to get. You're going to have to order everything from Amazon, which is like not ideal. You know what I mean? That's not ideal for small businesses and stuff like that. And it's not ideal for even independent comic book creators because Amazon is not necessarily that cheap to work with if you're selling your books through there. So that'll be something we can talk about too, distribution and stuff on another podcast. But I guess for this one, if anybody doesn't have anything else, I wanted to just talk about like hiring artists or hiring creators or collaborators to work with you on your project. Y'all got anything else y'all wanted to mention before we get into that?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I mean, the first thing I just wanted to say is, like, Ray, when somebody's reaching out to you for commissions, like, what are the different ways people reach out to you or find out where you're at? And how do you let people know where you're at for your commissions?
I mostly get my commissions on either Facebook or Instagram. However, I'm learning that there are actually alternate ways to get clientele. You can actually create a LinkedIn specifically for your artwork, and people get jobs off of there. Actually, artist friend of mine, he actually ended up getting a Marvel gig off of LinkedIn. So that was really interesting to see. And he's really good. He's really, really good. And so I pretty much just, look, most of my stuff I just get off of social media. As I continue to grow, I'm most certainly going to, reach out to LinkedIn and things like that. And also, using my own, personal social network as an opportunity to get me more clientele. It's like, you might seem like you're being annoying, but posting out there and telling people to share and like your stuff, it really does help you, especially as a small business owner in that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's do you like have like a DeviantArt or anything like that?
No, I strictly go off of my Instagram and Facebook as of right now. I do know that there's just one, it's called Fiverr, where like the jobs start at $5 and up, but you can hire an artist, for pretty cheap. I don't know what type of quality you get, but if you want a $5 artist, that's not me. By the way, anybody listen to this, I'm not a $5 artist. But if you want to check out some artwork, definitely you can go to Fiverr as well. But yeah, I joined a lot of different groups. I'm part of a lot of anime groups on Facebook. I'm a part of a couple commission groups on Facebook, and it is challenging to get consistent work that way. But because I still do have a full-time job and I'm working on the comic, this does actually serve my needs pretty well.
Hey Newman, was you like for your book for artists, were you looking for an artist, and how were you where were you looking and going about that?
I did look, and I did freelance. So I used Fiverr. I put something up on Craigslist, because this was years ago, where I didn't have the time to draw it myself. So my process was I reached out to, or I put an ad up, looking for an artist to do anywhere from 12 to 24 pages. Price can be negotiated. And then I told them, if I were to bring you on, I can use you for other projects in the future. So there was, with Fiverr, I worked with a dude, which I actually paid like $500. He did work for Pixar. He said he worked for Disney. I saw some of his deviant artwork. I saw his own personal profile. So I commissioned out probably $1,000 worth to these artists, but kind of what I had pictured in my mind and what they brought back to me, I didn't go on with using them. So I was just trying to get everyone's different, telling them briefly about what the story was and try to get what their concept would be with creating just the two characters, this animal figure and then the main person in my story. And I didn't really like what they were drawing up. And I always found that is the hardest thing to get into my head and put it on paper, having someone else put it on paper. So when that didn't work, I drew it out myself. I got one of those, I got the little board that you can draw on and you attach it to your computer. I bought a program to draw it on. So I drew the whole comic book, or not, it's not even a comic book, but I drew the whole children's book out. That's what it is. And so from there, again, it was from what we talked about the last episode. I did everything. I showed my brother. He was just like, yo, this is cool. But he gave me some more insight. You should add this. You should go this direction. And so from that, I realized I'm going to do my version, but let me get a couple of other different artist versions as well of the same book. It's going to be the same words, but it's going to have a different visual feel, which it might connect with someone in a different way. So doing freelance, yeah, I went through the Fiverr. I went through what I say, Craigslist, and then I went through my brother who was already an artist, who already had connections to other local artists who were dope. So I had them doing the book too. So it just it kind of it was a trial and error in the beginning, and then I'm seeing what it leads to, but someone might not like my version whatsoever, but they might like another artist version, which is going to help with the revenue stream. But then I'll be able to put on more artists and then get them exposure as well too. So it'll all work out in the end.
Yeah. So I guess go ahead.
That's a really interesting way of doing things. I've never, thought about a book having several, artists at a time outside of a standard comic book. But to tell the same story with multiple art styles, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I doubt I'm the only person who does it. I don't know. I looked at mine. I was just like, man, I'm not sweet. Let me get someone else who's sweeter and just do a different version. Let me stop being, Mr. Oh, it's got to be my way. I got to self-publish. I got to do this. Let me get some other person's views, because someone else might resonate with their art better than they resonate with mine.
Right. Yeah, and that's basically kind of, I guess, the reason why I asked Ray, where he's at and stuff is because, I'm trying to let people know where they can find artists. And, of course, you can always look, Instagram, Facebook, of course, those are big, for artists and networking. But also, like Ray said, groups, if you're in an anime group or any type of social medias or social platform group that's online, if you're looking for artists and things like that, writers as well, even though people aren't really looking for writers like that, but you should if you're a great artist, but you can't figure out why nobody wants to read your stories. It's probably not your art. So don't be scared to work. So don't be scared to work with a writer. I find that a lot of artists, since they can do that whole thing themselves, they don't want to work with writers. But sometimes a writer will take your thing to the next level. So, but at the same time, like you said, if there's that. Then there's the more, I guess, standard. And I asked Ray if he had a DeviantArt. So, of course, DeviantArt is one of those places where you can go and there's just tons of artists on there. And they usually will say whether they're doing commissions or not. There's usually writers on there as well. And they'll say whether they're doing commissions or not. There's a couple different kind of, I guess they do artist forums. Pencil Jack is one that actually still has, I think, generally there's actually some pretty decent artists on Pencil Jack, especially for comic books. There's plenty of comic book artists on Pencil Jack. And then also, I guess if you're looking for artists too, besides all the social media stuff, I think we've mentioned this on a lot of different things we talked about. It's just general networking, right? Be out there, try to meet people who are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, and create a network, to find artists. Like Newman mentioned, he had commissions from artists. Craigslist is still viable, even though I think people are kind of getting away from Craigslist because you never know what you're going to get or who you're going to be actually talking to on Craigslist. But
I'm staying away from it.
Yeah. So maybe 7-8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Craigslist was a little more viable for those type of things. But now, all the other things that I mentioned is probably a little more viable. But you could throw something up on Craigslist, just have a dummy email that they contact you on or something. I would recommend, because like I said, you don't know who's on Craigslist, man. It could be a Nigerian prince telling you to take that order for you or something.
Definitely some Millettes up there.
Yeah. Sommelier. But yeah, so that's another avenue. But like Newman said, he was working. He had some artists that he commissioned out, and he really, at the end of the day, right, you couldn't really use the artwork, is basically what you're saying, because it didn't fit exactly what you were trying to do. I
was arrogant in the beginning. wanted to be exactly what it was in my mind. No one could like put on paper exactly what was in my mind. And so that's when I went and did it myself. So I could go back and use them like I said, with these different artists, but the artists that who I'm having commission work are like Black unknown artists who are local to Cleveland. So I wanted to definitely give them an opportunity to shine and hopefully big up when I big up. So it was just me just pushing forward, honestly. Because now that I think about it, I should have used all of those people's art and have it just different many copies as possible. But again, I'm always looking to go forward. So that was just me being arrogant and trying to be perfect at something.
Right. I feel what you're saying. Like that's what the other thing I wanted to mention too is like a lot of times when you go on these different social media sites and platforms, you'll see like somebody's not in America, so they might be from a different country. That shouldn't really deter you from getting work or from like hiring them for work, especially for artists, because a lot of the foreign artists, they, they're actually really timely and they're cheaper a lot of times too than some of the American artists. There might be like a bit of a language barrier there, but there's like plenty of comic book people who are publishing indie with popular comics. The artist is like from a different country. They're from Brazil or Spain or Germany or any numerous country, Mexico. Because there's a lot of talent. Like that's the one thing when you go online is there's just, if you see a style or something that you like, then you should probably reach out to that artist to see if they're doing commissions. But also I would say this too, especially for anyone who's writing, is like, Ray will tell you, artists want to get paid.
Yeah, we do.
They don't want to work. They don't want to work. They don't want to work on your project for free for, even if it's like I'll give you a 50 split on the profits. Like, it takes a long time to put together artwork for comics and stuff like that. And so ideally, like if you can find someone to do it for free, that's fine. Or if you can find someone that's basically going to collaborate with you and treat it as a business venture amongst the both of you, that's great. But I would say generally the quality you're going to get is going to be based on what you're paying. So if somebody's doing something for free, and that might be fine. Like maybe you're just getting started. And I would encourage this too. If you are just getting started, this is your first thing you've ever written or something like that, and you're just feel like you're ready to make it into a comic, then maybe get with an artist who's not that great yet. You know what I mean? And y'all can build it up together. But and then that way nobody's really spending a lot of money, but you're kind of cutting your chops and kind of getting better at it, going through it and building together. But in general, I would say also, just if you're looking for it, and then that goes for anything like writers, letterers, find a price that works for you, but be expecting to pay something, because most of these artists aren't really going to want to work for free. And I find that like a lot of people who want to make comics, if they're looking for a letterer, they're looking to collaborate with a writer or an artist, but they don't want to pay, they end up never making their comic because they can't find anybody that's willing to do it for free that is of quality. So, put a little bit of change aside as you're working on your art. If you're looking for a writer, put a little bit of change aside as you're writing your comic, if you know you're going to be looking for an artist. And you can be straight up, I guess, upfront with artists as well, or any collaborator, and say, this is what I have to pay you. And then
right.
That's better than just saying, I don't have much, I can't pay you. You know what I mean? You can tell them exactly what it is, and then they can make that decision if it's going to be worth their time. Ray, like, is that kind of what you expect when you're like getting commissions and people are reaching out to you?
I have a price list, but in all honesty, there have been opportunities where I was negotiable with the price list, and especially like actually I just got a job recently And the client, they saw my price list and they essentially told me like, hey, like I'm just really trying to get this off the ground now. While we're at home, I lost my job due to this whole thing, yada, yada, yada. So I was able to work with that artist, because I understand the drive to get a passion project done right now. And so, I mean, yeah, every artist is different. I know artists that are very contingent on like their sticking to their price list and not budging. But I mean, some of us, obviously, like, especially it helps if we have, like other jobs, like whether it's like higher paying commissions or we actually have like a 9 to 5 where we're not, really hurting for money. We're able to kind of work with you a little bit more, but you have to be upfront and honest. And that's coming from the artist standpoint as well as the client standpoint. And if it's too expensive for you, that's okay. That's okay. You can find an artist within your price range, but really try not to haggle your artist. Like, don't tell them, oh, well, I found this better and this person does this. It's like, well, why didn't you hire that person? Like, don't go that route. But you can be honest, especially if you're planning on working with that artist a little bit, like for a bigger project.
Right. And I mean, and that's, I guess, another thing too, is when you're looking for working with somebody, especially like it's kind of like at least like for myself, if I'm trying to find a new artist, I mean, I know a couple artists now, so I generally just work with the same artist now. But if I'm looking for like a new artist, I'll always make sure, like, if let's say I have this story, so the first thing like I'll do is I'll just put out there at, wherever I'm putting it out there at. If I'm reaching out to someone on Facebook or Instagram, if I'm reaching out to them on DeviantArt or Pencil Jack or at a convention or something like that, I'm going to just lay out what the story is first and say, are you interested? Would you be interested in working on something like that? And then I ask them for a sample, an original sample, and I would give them like kind of like a dummy page from that would be something that I would expect to see in my comic. But I also would pay them for that, like, cause that's time.
Yeah.
But that keeps you from, it's just, you see somebody online and you see they do great artwork, and you feel like the one thing you don't necessarily want to do is, one, you don't want to just say, okay, I'm gonna hire you and then throw them a bunch of money and then they come back with stuff that you're not really feeling because, their style doesn't necessarily match with what you're writing. Or the same way, like if you're an artist and your art style doesn't necessarily match with what they're writing, and then you're not happy with it, but you're all in on this money. Plus, also by giving them something original to make for you, you can make sure that it's the person that you're reaching out to is actually the person doing the art, or at least that they can get the art done. Because if you just ask someone for a sample, then they can send you anything. They can steal somebody else's art, send you something, have them send you a deposit, and then you're out of $100. You never hear from them again. So
right,
that's one of the things you want to do too. Is like you just want to like give them something original, and then pay them for it too, though, because that takes time too. And then if you like what they've done, then you can go forward and hire them, and that might take even some time. Like I know for Anti, when I was doing that book, I probably paid out like 15 different people like $30 per sample, just for having to do like 3 sample panels. So, you know what I mean? So it does add up, but I was just, seeing who was going to be the best artist for the project. And I was finding those artists on various formats, but, generally I would do like 15 up front and then 15 when you send it in. And so that way you can also get a good feel of how timely a person is going to be, how quick their turnaround is. And also, like you say, because a lot of times if you're just finding someone online that you've never met, you want to know you can trust them too to get a whole project done. So that's a whole other thing too, is you want to check the length of the project too. And I would say don't do too ambitious of a project with an artist you've never worked with before. So if you've got something that's hundreds of pages long and you're just working with this artist, like, that's dangerous. You know what I mean? You could lose a lot, not only just money, but you could also probably just lose your story. And that, like, there's so many people that I hear talk about, oh, well, it's like, oh, your comic is not bad, but it's like the art's a little inconsistent. And it's like inconsistent in a way you notice. And then they got to explain to you how the one artist fell off and they had to hire a new artist. So there's 3 different artists. If, one artist did the first part and another artist did the second part, he fell off. I had to get a third artist, and the third artist did. I tried to get them all to match each other's style, but it just doesn't look good. Like, not that each artist's artwork isn't good, but together you can still see the differences. So that's why I tell people, don't take on, I guess, when you're first getting started, don't take on too ambitious of a project with an artist that you've never met. Now, if you've been working with somebody all the time, then of course, then you would know what they can and can't do. But if you're just getting started, I would recommend not doing that. And that's for anything, letterers, writers, artists. If you're hiring anybody, like, for the first time, you just want to give them, hope it should probably be on a project that can be completed within 3 to 4 months.
Right.
So 3 to 4 months based off of, like, is that based off of the length of the project, or is that all talked about in up front with, in regards to creating a comic book or anything?
I would say based on just the length of the project, it should be enough work that it shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 months. Like, you don't want to be tied to somebody for a year and they not finish. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you just kind of lost a year. It's like you're working with somebody with something and they can't get it done. So, ideally you'd like to have something that you can gauge completion. So that way, like 2.5 months in, you can say, okay, I'm going to pull the plug on this guy because it's not working. Versus going all the way down the line and then ending up like, trying to chase somebody down or something like that. But
how often are you contacting your artists during that project?
I would say when I first start working with someone, honestly, I'm probably checking up on them like every 2 or 3 days. It takes a lot I don't necessarily expect work then. I mean, I probably every 3 days I would expect, like, if as a writer, it depends on if I'm just having someone pencil something but they're like reading off the script or penciling, and I would give them like 2 or 3 days. If it's like an inker, I'd probably give them 2 days. And if it's a colorist, I'd probably give them 2 weeks to complete a whole book, because if they're doing digital, because if they're a good colorist, it's not going to take them that long to flat. We can talk about coloring too, but just like putting the flats on the pages digitally and then inserting the colors if they're a good colorist. That doesn't take that much time. But generally, you just want to check up. Like now, most of my artists, I don't really check up on them because I've been working with them for years now. So like when you get a good rapport with somebody, I kind of just let them go. Like, and when I'll give them a time frame of like what I expect to get things, and then I just let them go. But I do have one guy that I usually use for all my character design, for everything that I do. I just usually have him. I'll check up on him because he can take a while. but I'll be like, hey man, what's going on? But he always gets the job done. But he's not the fastest, so I check up on him. But like I feel like, ideally, if you're an artist, you would like I said, it comes back to kind of like what we were saying, like what Ray was saying too, like joining groups and just networking out. And then if you have a solid network after you've been working for a while, then you'll have enough artists that you can just go to whenever you need to make something.
Right.
Don't switch up on your artist like you do your barber. That's loyalty.
Well, that's one thing too. Go ahead, Ray.
No, actually, no, go ahead. Keep going, because I want to go back to something that you said a little earlier. But keep going.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, what Nubis said, don't switch up on your artist. I mean, you still got to have like an artist that fits your project. Like I have my manga style guy, and I have my more anatomical, realistic guy, and I have my superhero guy. You know what I mean? Like, so like they all have 3 different styles. So like they'll know, like, right. I mean, like I'll if I send a project over to one artist, he might be like, nah, this not what's something I'm interested in. Like, hopefully you have an artist like that that's just going to be straight and like, you know what? Nah, I don't really do that. I'd rather do I do superhero stuff. I'm not really into the drama. Like, you know what I mean? Like the action drama, realistic stuff. So like, I mean, you don't, I guess I would say, like Newman said, I would say fight. I would say be loyal to your artist by paying them on time and being upfront with them about their work. But as far as like, don't, I guess, because you know an artist, don't hire him to do something in a style that you don't want to see for your work just because you know him and been working with him. Because then in the end, you're probably not going to be happy, and the book's not going to be as good as it could have been.
That's what I wanted to say. There are multiple pet peeves, and honestly, we could do a whole other episode on the pet peeves of being a commission-based artist. But one of the pet peeves that I have is you'll see my style, you'll know what I'm posting, what I'm doing, and then you'll say, okay, well, I want this comic. But I want semi-realistic people. And it's like, well, one, you didn't say that at first. You said, oh, I love your style. Your style's great. But it's like you're hiring a football player to play basketball. Dude's 300 pounds. Of course he's not going to be able to play well on the court. And so it's really important to take note of people's styles and try to hire them for things that you already see are in their wheelhouse. You know, it saves you a lot of frustration. It saves them a lot of frustration. And, you know, it makes the whole process a lot smoother and easier than going back, doing revision when this isn't what you had visualized in the first place. And artists will show you their styles on their portfolio. Trust them on that. You know?
That's a good point. You look at the portfolio that they give you or show you or that you find, and what you expect that what you see there is what you would get to whatever you're doing. Like you said, that's not like don't look at them and see all the things they're doing, think that's really cool, and then say, you know, he can do artwork, so I'm going to have him do this, though, instead. Yeah. Because I see that he's a talented artist. I want him to do something different for me. Like, clearly, they you know what I mean? Like, clearly they got their skill set in their wheelhouse is this. And if you see, like, I mean, it's different if you see a whole bunch of different styles in their artwork, then you can be like, that one style, I want you to do, like, can you do it that style? But if you see that they're pretty much, like, this is what they do, don't ask them to do something else, or don't hire them, pay them, and then when you get something back, be surprised that it looks like the stuff that you were looking at the whole time when you were doing the portfolio.
Makes sense. I guarantee any future clients that are listening to this, don't hire me for your American superhero story. I am not the guy for you. I promise.
Man, you threatening your future clients.
Man, I'm protecting them from a lot of heartache and me a lot of headaches. Don't hire me for that.
So that's good to know, because like ahead of time, I didn't think about that. I just saw like, oh man, you, like you said, oh, you dope. Oh, you gonna be able to do what's in my mind. That's not the case. And so that's where I was at like 5 years ago. Exactly.
Yeah. And honestly, like it's an easy mistake. Like a lot of people will make that, and a lot of artists early out are afraid to say no to jobs because they want to get their name out there. But you don't want to be infamous. You want to be famous. So you don't want to be known for taking on jobs and presenting bad artwork. You want to take stuff that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and you don't want to be known for being an artist who doesn't complete jobs either, because you'll find nobody want to work with you. After a while, but that was just one of the things that I wanted to touch on, is just looking for artists, kind of some of the strategies and stuff you can do. One, to keep you from losing money and getting burned or creating frustration and not getting your book finished, but also just places to look to find them, and or even writers as well, places to look to find them. And like you said, it'd be the same thing with writers too. If you see somebody, all they write is superhero stuff, and then you want them to write the teen drama for you, like, it's not going to be good. Like, that's not what they do. You know what I mean? If somebody's writing high fantasy and then you want them to write a children's book, like, a lot of times, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a far stretch. Like, you gotta pick with what people are showing you they can do now. When you see that if they have a bunch of different types of genres out there, then that means that's what they do. But if they only are doing one type of thing, don't try to hire a writer to write something. When you look at their portfolio, or you look at the books, the comics, or the movies they've written, and none of them have are not in the genre that you want them to write in, but you just really like what they did in the genre they do work in, don't hire that person. Right. Find somebody that killed it in the genre you're trying to make your thing in. But yeah, that's basically, I guess that's a quick kind of rundown I just wanted to give for people who are looking to collaborate with people, places they could find them, kind of get some insights from artists and like yourself, Ray, and from people who are working as pros and working like books and children's books like you, Newman, to see the kind of process that you take as far as looking for stuff, and Ray, that when people are contacting you, like your thoughts on that stuff. So, anything you guys want to add to that?
Just the only thing is also, I'm sorry, Ray.
Nah.
But the other places I also met artists, or I'll say even three, talking about the Comic Cons whenever those open back up. But at a gallery, and also like editors I've met, editors who said, possibly talk to this artist, here's their information. So that's another avenue you could go through. But just meeting people at like different things that you enjoy, like I said, different Comic Cons, maybe an art gallery. Just talking about it. Just talk about your project, and it's funny. Even at a bar, just talking about it. You ain't got to tell me the details, but just briefly talked about it. It's funny how many people know someone who's a comic who does art. And when you start talking, you know someone who does art? Oh, that's awesome, man. What's the Instagram? Look it up, or however it is, man. There's just so many different ways that you can find different artists, man, that you don't even know to look directly for. You know what I mean?
I actually met a client in a bar once. I took my tablet with me. I was getting some work done, but I wanted to, try to be a little social too, get out the house a little bit. And they saw me working on my stuff, and they actually hired me on the spot for a job. Yeah, that was cool. So artists, don't be afraid to, if you can, take your studio with you if it's, portable enough. But what I wanted to say was, man, Madison over here shouting us out, but he's a great writer. I read the first volume of Edda, and it's great. So if you guys are looking to hire a freelance writer, he's the guy for you, Just didn't want this man to be over here. Yeah, like he over here being humble. Nah, he's excellent at what he does.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, of course.
Hire me. For sure. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add to that?
No, I'm great.
Any shout outs y'all got today?
Actually, yes, I do. Give me just a second. I'll find it. There is this comic, it's called Part-Time Shuffle, and it is made by this guy named James Stanley. His Instagram is stride, STRIDE _driver, Driver. He has really cool artwork, and I like it because even though the main characters are women, they have varying body types. You know, like he doesn't just stick to this slender, sexy build. He has women of all shapes, sizes, and colors in there too. Really, 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 really great artwork. So check them out.
Ray, you want to tell people where they can find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Ray's Arts, RAIZ _ARTS. Again, my name is Raymond Youngblood. I am a freelance artist. Please hire me for commissions. I typically take 4 at a time. And I'm also working on my comic book Twilight Angel as well.
Cool, and I'm Madison Hawthorne with Golden Tree Publishing. You can find us at Golden Tree Publishing on Facebook, Golden Tree Publishing on Instagram, and Golden Tree TV on YouTube, where you can also find this podcast. It's on YouTube, it's on Google Play, and it's on Podbean, and Podbean, not Podbean. And again, Newman had to step away, but again, I guess we'll catch you guys on the next show.
Alrighty.